loving light, y'all. How is everybody doing? I hope everyone is doing well. I hope it's cooling down wherever you are. We have rain and it's cooling down here. The other night it got down to the 40s. I couldn't believe it. But anyway, today we're coming back with the second video to our first Baking Bread 101, where we went over flour. Okay, this week we're going to do leavening agents, what we would use to leaven when we make bread. Okay, if this is the first time being here watching my videos, I am Emma Ahuva, and I just love sharing the knowledge that I have. Okay, now, last video I was trying to think of the bread, the flour that people like to use to fix biscuits, and that was self-rising flour. I'm gonna do a video to show how to do that because it's very simple. You don't have to run out and buy self-rising flour when you can do it yourself. Like today, we are going to go over all of these different agents, and then I'm going to show you. Okay, let me start off first what I got. I have sourdough right here. I have yeast water. I'm going to show you guys how to do this too. I have quick yeast. This is a quick yeast. Then this is in this pack is active dry yeast. And you'll see is baking soda here, but no baking powder. And the reason being is because I'm going to show you how to make the baking powder. Okay, so let's start with our oldest way to bake bread, and that's with sourdough. Okay, and the next one would be the yeast water. I'll tell you about this one in a minute. Okay, now sourdough. This is the way our ancient grandmothers baked. They used sourdough. Okay, sourdough bread is one of the healthiest things that you can eat. Okay, now let me say this. Okay, we as a people, regardless of what culture you come from, you know, when you so-called got civilized, we decided to do away with the old ways, and it caused us problems. Now, when you bake with sourdough, this has live bacteria and everything that's good for your gut. Okay, now, with the yeast, what they did was, with the sourdough, they took out one strand to make the yeast. You know, it's a long drawn out story. I would suggest that you research it and go read about how they did that, okay? And when they did that, they took out all the benefits of sourdough. Now, I know a lot of people don't like the taste. I love it myself personally, but they don't like the taste. And so they go buy that fake bread that they sell in the store. We don't even, if we're just baking bread and we're using just yeast, the new yeast, you know, the man-made yeast, because that's what it is. Both of these are man-made yeast, okay? We like I said, we don't have the benefits of a sourdough anymore. Anyway, okay, that's the sourdough. You can see I fed it this morning. Oh, let me bring it up so y'all can see it. And I started my sourdough with rye flour. Let me see. Can you see the bubbles? And you see how high it's risen since this morning? This is where it was when it started. This is where it is now. But that will eventually go back down. But you can see that it's live. Those bubbles let you know that this is a live sourdough. Okay, Now, let me show you the other, the yeast water. Oh, I shook this up in the spill. Okay, and I need to show you this up close too. When you can see, when you shake it up, you see the bubbles at the top that lets you know that it's live. I'm going to have to refeed this soon because I've used it. So I need to refeed this too. Okay. And I'll probably do this on this video since we're talking about leavening agents. Okay, now, like I said, we were talking about, you know, this packet, the active yeast and the quick yeast. This is a little more giving than this one. The active yeast, you usually have to put it, you know, they put it in water with some sweetener, you know, honey, sugar, whatever you're using to make sure it's active. Okay. And with this yeast, the quick yeast, you don't have to do all that. Not unless it's old. If you've had this for a while, then yes. And it's good to keep this in the freezer or the refrigerator, even with your little packets. If you know you're going to be having them for a while, excuse me, put them in the freezer. Now we have the baking soda. We use baking soda also. Now, let me hip you guys to something. I know a lot of people probably don't know. Yeah, let me show you. This is baking soda too, okay? The difference between these two, this is a natural. This is natural, 100% natural baking soda, okay? Arm & Hammer that we all love and use is man-made, okay? This is a man-made baking soda. It still will do what this one does, but you know it's better. Now here's the difference. I cook with a natural baking soda, and I clean with this. I clean and wash and all that kind of stuff. This is what I got this for, okay, to clean with. But most of the time, I have Bob's Red Mill baking soda. I didn't have any more, and I needed something to do this video with, so I got this one from Amazon. You know, because like, you know, to show you the difference. This is a real baking soda. This is a man-made baking soda. And like I said, it's not like you can't use this. You can, but just know. You know, you need to know that, okay? Now, the other one is baking powder, okay? Sometimes when you bake, something might call for baking powder, like when you bake cakes and cupcakes and all that. And some things you bake, it'll call for baking soda, okay? But then in some recipes, it might call for both of them. So it's good to have both on hand because it's the texture that you get when you use either or. Now, I'm going to show you how to make your own baking powder. I know I did this video a while back, but I'm going to do it again since, you know, I'm doing this particular video. Now, to make your own baking powder, you need a baking soda, and then you need what's called cream of tartar. Let me bring it up so you can read it. Let me see. Okay, there it is. Cream of tartar. Okay, now. And also, if you're only making enough to, say, bake whatever, you don't need to do this step. But if you're making a lot of it, like say for a holiday or whatever, or a special day, and you need to make enough because you're going to be doing some extra baking, then you would add some cornstarch to it to keep it from getting hard, you know, because it will cake up, okay? This cornstarch acts as an anti-caking agent. Okay, so now, let's see. I'm going to start off. Well, I'm going to get start with the baking soda. And I'm going to show you too, you can actually see the difference between Arm & Hammer and because this baking soda is finer. I don't know if you can see on the inside, well, in the spoon. It's finer and it doesn't have any lumps in it. You know, it's smooth to the touch. I don't know how to explain it, but if you baked with Bob's Red Mill before, you know what I'm talking about. There's a difference between this and Arm & Hammer. Okay, so we're going to put 1 tablespoon of the baking soda. I'm just going to take the top off here. Then we're going to take 1 tablespoon, you know, it's equal parts of cream of tartar. And then I'm only going to use like a teaspoon. They say it all should be equal parts, but I've never used more than a teaspoon of, depending how much I'm making of the cornstarch. Okay, now we're gonna mix this up. Make sure everything is combined really good. Mix it up really good. Okay, now I'm just gonna put the top on here. Let me move all this stuff. And now we have our baking powder. And like I said, it depends on what you're baking. You know, that you use this. Okay, now, like, these are your main leavening agents, okay? Yeah, your main leavening agents. You have your yeast water. Oh, I don't even think I went over this. Let me go over this, okay? How you make yeast water? You make yeast water by using fruit. Fresh fruit. It's not going to work with frozen fruit. You need fresh fruit. And the reason why you need fresh fruit is because the active live yeast, you know, the wild yeast in the air, is already attached to the fruit. And that's what's going to help this ferment, or like the sourdough, yeah, ferment. Okay, so I like to use dates. You can use, wait, let me get the other one I just made. This one I made with apples. Shake it up. Okay, this is another one. I made this one with apples. It's not as, it's still kind of fizzy, but not really as fizzy, because it still got bubbles in it, but not like the date. The dates really do a good job. Okay, so I might have to feed this. Okay, now, date, like I said with the with the yeast water, what you do is, well, let me feed this and you guys can see what I mean, what I'm talking about. Okay. Get some water. Okay, I'm going to refeed this. And before I start this, okay, let me go back to the sourdough. Whenever you're doing sourdough or the yeast water, you never want to use chlorinated water. If you're using water from your tap, you let the water, you either boil it and let it cool, or You put the water out in a vessel, some kind of container, and let it sit out overnight. That way the chlorine in it will evaporate. Okay. Now I need to get a few more things. Just hold on, y'all. Hold on. I'm coming. Y'all know I always got to step away from the camera. Y'all know. A little bit of sugar. I got this sugar because of canning. Okay, salt. All right, so okay, now I'm gonna put a tablespoon of sugar in here. And you only, and one of these ingredients, the salt, you only do it after when you feed it. But when you first make, this thing is stuck. Let me see. No wonder there's a little lump of sugar got stuck down in there. Okay, we got our sugar in here. All right, now we're gonna do, let me see, teaspoon of salt. I know a lot of people say, "Oh, you shouldn't put salt in." And with yeast. Then I'm gonna drop this date in here, and then I'm gonna fill this up with water. And then you shake it up. And yes, you can actually bake bread with this. You sure you can. You surely, 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 surely can. Okay, let's see. You shake it up until you don't see the sugar in it no more, or the salt. And then you can see the bubbles at the top. Okay, now you see me do this one, but I'm gonna do how you do it when it's fresh. You know, when you first start, you know, you don't, like I said, you don't use the salt, but you use, when you first start off, you use 2 dates, a tablespoon of sugar, and your water, and you let this, you shake this up. Well, it's not going to be as high when you first do it. It'll probably be just a little over full, just a little bit. Okay, then, what was I saying? Oh, you're going to put the water, the sugar, the 2 dates. You're going to shake it up twice a day, and then you're going to pop the top to let the air out, because if not, the top, the bottle can explode or the top can fly off, you know, because it's got gases in it. But yeah, and you let that, you do that for about between 4 to 7 days, depending on how warm or cool your kitchen is. Okay, so yeah, our leavening agents to bake our bread, we have the old standby, that goes back years and years, thousands of years, your sourdough starter. You have your water, yeast water. You have your regular yeast. You have your baking powder. And you have your baking soda. Okay? Now, all these are easy to use. You know, I know a lot of people are scared. You know, they're kind of scared of, like I said, or they don't like the taste of sourdough. But that, I think I said it earlier, the reason why a lot of people have like stomach problems or whatever is because we got away from the old ways, you know, of doing things. Back in the day, when I was a child growing up, there are mothers and grandmothers and great-grandmothers, they soaked everything overnight. If you were going to have oatmeal, they would put that oatmeal in a pot with the water, sit it on the stove, and it would be over there overnight. And then they would cook it in the morning. Same thing with pancakes. They would make the batter the night before, let it sit on the counter, cover it with a little tea towel. Then they would bake, you know, they would make those pancakes. Just like they soak beans overnight, they soaked everything. They even soaked rice, you know. But we've lost the art of doing things the old ways. And like I always say, when you get away from what's tried and true, you have problems. So, yeah. Leavening agents for bread making. Okay, y'all, I think I done rambled on long enough. So, I'm going to say, if this is the first time you ever watched any of my videos, I'm going to ask you to subscribe. Hit that little notification bell so when I upload content, you'll get your notification. Give it a thumbs up, share, and leave a comment. Okay, now if you are a bread baker, tell me about all your, you know, what's your favorite bread to bake. And if you have any stories about your grandma, great-grandma, or mother baking bread, share. Because there are a lot of young sisters out there who don't have a clue. The only bread they know of is what they go buy at the store. And when you look at those ingredients on the side of that package, you know, and if you can't pronounce the words, you shouldn't be eating it. This way, when you learn how to bake, you know what's in your, food. You know what's in it. You know. Oh, I had to come back and say, I will come back and show you how to do a sourdough starter. It's so easy. It's very easy. So, yeah. So, now I can say, see you in the next one.